Welcome to everybody. It's great to see you, and I trust that this is helpful. We've had lots of questions especially from the trainers about some of the changes that Birkman is making, and and especially some questions around consolidated accounts, how that works, the logic behind them, and whatnot. So I actually was able to get a hold of Birkman, and they helped me put together a little presentation here, and so I wanted to just walk through it real quickly for you to help you understand it. So I'm going to share a screen here, and then we'll see how that works. So we'll go to, so I guess the starting point of this whole process is understanding Birkman sub-accounts. And once we get that kind of figured out, some of the other stuff actually makes sense. So each trainer who previously had a Birkman sub-account had their original sub-account listed as a signature suite account. The assumption on Birkman's part was that all of us who have had sub-accounts previous to the switch over in November 1st to the signature accounts, all of us must have been trainers. That's why we had a sub-account. Non-trainers didn't have sub-accounts. So consequently, every profile that has ever been done through Grip-Birkman was moved into a single account called Signature Suite. And that's been kind of the logic for what happens. So all of us have a Signature Suite account if you had a Birkman sub-account, and that Signature Suite account is your original login. Nothing has changed from that original login. When you log in to Birkman Direct with your original account, this is what you see. However, additionally, each trainer was given 2 additional sub-accounts. So you were given a signature account. So you have, your original was a Signature Suite. So you have access to this account by simply adding SIG to your login and using the very same password, as well as you were given a basic account. And you access this account by adding base to your login and using the same password. So you have these 3 accounts. So now when you order a signature report and you say, please add it to my signature sub-account, it shows up in signature sub-account. It doesn't automatically show up in the Signature Suite. You also have to understand that when you pay for a signature account, if you look for it in your Signature Suite or ask that it be put in a Signature Suite, you'll pay the upgrade fee. You never have to pay the transfer fee to a lower account. So if you order a signature account and 4 people that you want to run a report with all have base reports, you are welcome to ask us to move that person to a lower account, and there's no charge for that. So Birkman is happy with that. But anyway, so you have 3 accounts. So, for example, for John Q. Public, there is nobody by this. There's no account by this name, so copying this doesn't do you any good. For John Q. Public, his original Signature Suite account, which used to be just his Birkman Direct account, was John Q. Public. His password was, say, Birkman Public. His new signature account is exactly the same, except it has SIG added to it. And his password is the same. And his basic account is John Q. Public with base added to it. So you have access to 3 different accounts for every sub-account. And that's been the confusing. So when you order a base report, you need to say, please add this to my whatever base account. Or if you order a signature report, please add this to my signature account. And that will be available. So you didn't create these accounts. Birkman created them. They're there. The passwords are there. It's a done deal. So they're available to you, whether you've used them or not, or whether you've recognized them or not.
Question?
Yes.
So if we're going to pay an upgrade fee, why put it in a sub-account? If we ever want it to move up, we're going to have to pay a fee. Why wouldn't we put everything in the basic Signature Suite account? The highest?
Because that's, you're going to charge the most. So that's the most costly account, is the Signature Suite account.
So even to put in it the first time costs money?
Yep. Yeah. So when you order a Birkman report, you tell us what kind of report. I want a basic signature or whatever, and then you need to say put it in my signature account. So it shows up in our account the minute the person writes it. We then have to put it in a sub account. And if we put it in a different sub account, a higher sub account than what you paid for, you're charged the difference. We're charged the difference, and we're going to charge you. So you say, I want to order a signature report for John Doe, and he writes it. We writes it, and you come back and say, actually, I want to write some reports out of my signature suite account, and we'll talk about the significance of that in a minute. Then we can put it in your signature suite account, but you're going to pay the difference between the signature report and the signature suite. So it's important for you to keep track of what account you're using and leave them in that sub account. I'll show you some sub accounts in a few moments here, so you have an idea of how that works. And by the way, thank you for asking questions. So I've been doing this for a while, so it makes sense, and that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to explain it in a way that makes sense. So
thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Let's look at here. So that meant for trainers who previously had a Birkman sub account, they now now have 3 accounts. You had, and for trainers who previously had 2 Birkman sub accounts, they had 6 accounts. And for trainers who previously had 3 Birkman accounts, like me, they have 9 sub accounts. So Birkman said that creates an issue. We understand, and so the solution to multiple logins, they said, was a Birkman consolidated login. And that's been, so all of you who are trainers who have a sub account got at some point in time an email from Birkman saying, you have a new signature account. Now the problem is they didn't send another email saying you have a base account. I'm not sure why they didn't, and frankly that first email caused enough consternation and trouble that I guess they just decided it wasn't worth the effort. So what Birkman said, if we're going to give you multiple accounts, we need to give you a single way to sign into those accounts. That's a consolidated login. So what's a consolidated login? It's the ability to use one username and password to access all your Birkman Direct accounts. This includes consolidating accounts that are in varied levels of access, even different companies. You can consolidate your personal accounts, the Grip-Birkman accounts, whatever sub-accounts you as a trainer have can all come under a single consolidated login. And that just simply for their perspective, they said this was going to be an easier process. Understand this is not an automated process. You have to elect to consolidate your accounts, and you go through several steps to consolidate, and that's been part of the process. And consolidated login will not consolidate access to the Birkman Learning System accounts. So if you've signed up for Birkman Learning System, you had to create an account. This is not connected to our consolidated accounts at all. So you have to log in separately for that. When you first log in, and you've probably seen this, is the consolidated login account screen. It said get started, or you said maybe later. It just gives you a direction there. And this was actually began November 7th, so literally 7 days after we switched to the new report. And for those of us who are trainers who have multiple accounts, it does make sense to consolidate our accounts. Because for nothing else, you don't have to remember 3 different accounts. So from that perspective, when you begin, it asks you for the setup screen. And one of the confusing parts for the consolidated login is when you go through this process, you no longer log in using your old password and login and password. You now log in using your email and a new password. So when you set up this screen, you're giving your first name, last name, your email address, and you're confirming your email address. That is how you will log into Birkman Direct from here on in. And there's no choice about that. So that's your login from now on. For most of us, that's confusing because we're trying to log into one of our old accounts, and it won't let you anymore because you said yes to the consolidated login. So you start in, do the email address, you confirm it, you set a password. That's your new password. So your email address and your new password is your consolidated login. And then it gives you, it says, so what is your main account? For you, this would be your signature suite account or your original account. That's your first account. That it's asking you to log in there, and that becomes the portal to everything else. Okay, so you go ahead you submit the request, and you'll what'll happen is you'll get an email to your email account that says somebody, is it you, is trying to set up a consolidated login. Are you okay with that? And you see that, you approve it, and it actually sends this. You get two emails. It sends one email to make sure it doesn't get a bounce on this email address. So that's the first thing. So if it gets a bounce, then it quits the process. If it doesn't get a bounce, then it sends you a second email, and then there comes an approval. So what will happen is that support, in this case, will get an email saying somebody is trying to consolidate their account. Are you okay with that? And so support will click on this, click on the link, and just say approve, and that's it. You're in. So then what you do is you go to it looks like this. They get a screen, so you can see it. They get this screen. They say confirm, and from then on in, your login is your email and this new password to your Birkman account. Let's see, and then there's this approval saying, "Yep, this has happened." It's kind of a confusing process, but there's some emails back and forth that have to happen first, and then you end up logging in. First time you log in, you'll use your password and your email and your new password, and you'll see a screen that looks like this. From here, what you'll do is you go to down here at the left, see where it's highlighted, it says Consolidated Logins. And when you click on that screen, it will take you to this screen. And there, you'll see up here, right now, you're in your signature suite. That's always the first account that comes up as a signature suite account. And you'll say Add Login. This then begins to add in all your sub-accounts. So you'll say Add Login. When you do that, it'll say, okay, what account do you want? You put in your new account. And this one, you'll add SIG to it. That's your signature account. You'll do this again and add base, BAS, to it. Same password, but the account name is different. And you'll submit request. It'll go through that whole process of sending the emails again. And it will end up looking at this, like this. And you'll have your second account. Yours will say signature account. So you'll have a signature suite, signature, and then you just repeat that process for and like I said, what happens here is this emails come after that. You'll notice on this one, it still says cancel request. So what means at that point in time that you can't log into it, you've got to wait and deal with all those emails that come. So support from Birkman is going to send you an email telling you that somebody's accessed your account. They'll then send us an email saying, are you sure this person's okay? And then they'll send you an email saying it's a done deal. So it's just a process you have to go through. It'll confirm it, and the other email process will come, which again, this is just, anyway. In the end, you'll have a consolidated login with two accounts. And just let me quickly share it on another screen for you for a minute. So I'm going to stop my share, and then I'm going to share a different screen. And I want you, so this is so I have 3 sub-accounts. I have one called CMA Canada. I have one, our First Alliance Church runs 70, 80 profiles, so I created a separate sub-account for them. And I have one for PRBI, Peace River Bible Institute, that run all their students through accounts. So this is my personal account. So what happens is I have 3 sub-accounts for every one of those. So there's the CMA. The problem is I didn't add them in the right order, so they're all spread out. But anyway, so there's CMA Canada Signature Suite, there's CMA Canada Signature, and there's CMA Canada Basic. And that allows me then to have immediate access to any one of those sub-accounts. Come back to that in just a minute, but let me go back and share the Birkman report. Okay. So here we are with the consolidated login, and you can repeat that again for any and all reports you have. And so it goes through this this email process. Let's see if there's decline, and it says what happens if for some reason we say no. We haven't yet, but in case, and what do you have to do and that. So important points to remember. The databases of accounts are not commingled. You will need to choose which account you want to work in once you've logged in using the consolidated login credentials. Invoices will remain separate. So what that means is you're charged different things for different sub-accounts. If you're in a base account, that's one charge. If you're in a signature, it's another. Signature suite is another. The payment issue is not right now. It's all billed, unless you're using a very personal account apart from Grip-Birkman. It's all billed through Grip-Birkman, which we take care of that. And this feature does not impact the transfer copy process. So you still have to tell us when you want to transfer account to a sub-account. It doesn't just automatically, because you ordered a base report, put it in your base report. You have to say to us, I want this in my base report. The reason for that is there's some of you like me have multiple base accounts. Therefore, they don't know which one to put it in. And I want to put in the CMA Canada in my case, or the First Alliance database, because I want to run reports from that. And then it says it doesn't affect the Birkman learning system.
May I say something here?
Yep.
I'm just thankful that from a theological standpoint that we're not able to commingle.
There you go. Well, I don't know. Being Alliance, I'm a little, I wish we could do more of that. But anyway, so yeah, it does make sense that it's that you can't commingle it, and so let me just. So the next question I'm getting usually is, well, so why do I want these accounts? What's the significance of these sub accounts? Okay, let's go back to, I'm going to stop and share. I'm going to share back to my sub account screen. The key is that I can actually create reports as a person who as a trainer at this point. Now, Birkman's saying eventually, sometime in the future, they would like every coach to create, every person who's trained as a base coach to have their own base account. We're not quite ready to open that up yet, or to make that happen. It's a kind of long process, and it means we have to train every person how to use a basic account. So it doesn't work at the moment. But if you look at, so I'm going to go to CMA Canada Basic account. Actually, no, I'm going to go to First Alliance Basic. If I can find it here. I don't know if I have anybody in this account. So let me just check. No, I don't have anybody. They haven't done any base reports yet. So let's go back for a second. Oh, that's nice. Now I got this this agreement. Okay, it's telling me it can't find this. Let me. I'm going to have to log in, so you're going to have to see how this works. So I go to Birkman Direct. I'm using my email address. And my own password. And there I have my consolidated accounts. Let's go to a signature account. See if I have anybody in these. Like I said, we haven't written in a lot of them yet to make this work. So yeah, so as you can see, I've got quite a group of people now in the signature account. From here, I can create my own personal report sets. So I've created a personal report set. You can do this with the base count. The key is that the reports available are limited in the base. They're wider in the signature, and it's unlimited, or all of Birkman reports are available in the signature suite. So the difference in the accounts is what kind of reports you want to write.
So Ken, right there, you're in a signature account right now, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. So that's why you can see the Birkman signature report, signature summary, and all of those. But if you were in your base report, you would not see those available formats.
Exactly. This signature report would not be there. What would be is a base report.
Mm-hmm.
If
I ask a question there about the signature suite.
Yes.
I've not been on the signature suite and since the transition took place. Are any of the old reports supported in that? And you say we have access to all. Are any of those available, or have they made a clean sweep out of those?
No, they're all available. They moved all of your old reports into a signature suite account.
Report the actual. I mean Birkman reports. I don't mean my personal reports.
No,
I mean access to things like intellectual style, etc. Are those things still in? They've changed all the reports. They have cleaned it. Okay, I assumed that was my remembrance. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you will see a number of those, though, Paul, that have made the transition that are not in the signature report. You'll see a number of those that are still there. You can still get, for example, organizational focus. You can still get you can still get a preferred work styles report, I think, is in there. There are several of those that are still there. Guide pages are still there.
Now this is my signature suite account. So if I go to report sets here, so there's here's a bunch I've created some personal ones, but if you go down here to the report sets, you see there's your there's quite a few individual, like a lot of individual reports that you can create. There's 2 comparative reports, and then there's quite a big list of group reports.
Yeah, and you'll notice that most of those group reports are related to insights. Those are insight group reports.
Yeah. So I've created up here there's a Ken's personal. So I've created my own set of reports, and I just went into like individual, or actually I created some group reports because I like doing groups in this process. The other thing with this is, as we go back to reports, is taking me back here. I can still, in all of my accounts now, I can create companies or create groups. So even in my base report, if I've got a group of people that I'm doing, they've all taken a base report, I can put them into a group and run my group reports on that whole group. That's something you couldn't do with a basic report before. And so now I can do that both in a basic report, signature report, and signature suite. The difference is signature suite, I've got the most amount of availability to all of Birkman's reports. Signature is limited, and basic is pretty basic, but it still allows me to run some pretty decent reports.
Ken, can I ask a question real quick?
Please.
So just take your consolidated reports. Do other people in your organization need to have access to those one or more of those portals?
Yes. So, for example, there's 4 of us who share the portal CMA Canada. So all 4 of us still have the access to that same report, and it worked just fine.
So you just give them your new consolidated email or username and password?
No. Actually, they set up their own. So what happened was, and that's the issue, is that when they signed up, support got an email saying, there's an account called CMA Canada. Greg Langman is wanting to be a part of this. Is that all right? Yes. And so his consolidated account looks totally different than mine. So because he might have CMA Canada, but he might have 4 other sub accounts that he's created through Birkman. And so his login screen looks totally different, except that it has the one shared file, CMA Canada, signature, suite, and base.
Right. I don't want to confuse here, but I've got teammates that they're not Birkman trained. They are Grip-Birkman coaches. I can give them access just to the base.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If they have that password, I mean, if you've given them the login on that initial sign-in screen, or where you say consolidated login, and it says what account you want to add on. If they have the password, login and password, you will get an email saying, "Are you sure you want this person to have access to it?" If you say yes, that can show up in their consolidated account screen.
So one of the things, Ken, that TL, Robin Hansel, and I would need then is, I think we all have access to the suite, but I know I don't have access to the signature, CMA Canada signature, or the CMA basic.
Yeah. So what happened is on your login screen, like when you're doing your, let's go back into here. It's at the first of the presentation. You have access to it by simply adding your same whatever your login and password is doesn't change. You're adding SIG or base, BAS, with the same password, and it works for you just fine. When you and so here's consolidated logins. If you add a login for you, you're going to get this screen, and what you're going to add in is your own password, because your access to CMA Canada is different than mine.
Yes.
We're just sharing the database. You're going to put yours in there, but you're going to add SIG and the password, submit request. You're going to go back and do this again, add CMA Canada base, BAS, same password, submit request. You will actually have access to all those accounts as well.
Cool.
So, okay.
Ken, while we're paused here, Gail has a question that Birkman's never updated my new OMS email.
Yeah, I've answered Gail on that one, Jay. We're going to talk about that after the session.
Okay. Yeah.
So Ken, just a quick question regarding what you were just talking to Greg about. If we, like right now, I've got my consolidated accounts set up. I've got my consolidated logins. I'm assuming that now I have access to Signature Suite, unless I set up those other 2 sub accounts. Is that right?
Well, yes. I mean, right now you have all your old Birkman profiles are in Signature Suite.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. And so you can still see them in Signature Suite. You can run reports. You've already paid for that, so there's no cost issues. Okay. What we're having is that a lot of the trainers are saying, actually, the basic report is good enough, or the signature report is good enough. So then they're coming to us and saying, can we have a report? Now, understand. Let me just show you something. I'm gonna log into my Signature Suite here. Let's see. It's I'm having some. Let's see. Let's do this. Let's see if it's going to let me do this here. I'm having some trouble. So from here, if I want to print a report, let's see. There should be a public here rather than somebody else. There we go. Every sub account has a John Q public. So if I want to, at this point in time, run an individual report, even though I'm in the signature report, I can run a signature basics report. And so I can run a lesser report. So you don't have to, you can't run a higher report, you can run a lower report. That's handy, for example, if you just did you just did 5 people all doing basic reports, and somebody else wants to, you have somebody else you want to add to that team, it's possible to run the report. You can't run them as a group without calling support and saying, please transfer that back down to my basic account. Then I can run reports.
Ken, a quick question.
Yep.
I noticed back in the last screen where it had 4 options, one of them was the most popular insights. Are those the insights that have been chosen for us?
Yes.
In Grip-Birkman?
Oh.
Okay,
No, just a second. Let me correct that. No, that's actually the insights that Birkman has chosen for us, based on that, whether it's a signature base or signature suite. Yep. Sorry about that. So I don't know if I've confused you or helped, but it still starts back from that original saying, when we went to the new report, Birkman gave us 2 additional accounts. Our original one was a signature suite. Then they added a signature and base. Then they added a way for us to be able to log into all of them together. That's the consolidated accounts. So it's not exactly intuitive, but at the same time, it does work, and it does make things a lot quicker. So when I'm logging in, it's easy to get to these accounts. And the other issue is they've stopped charging us now. So if I have, like I have in my old signature suite account, somebody who wrote a report 2 years ago, they're on a new staff now, but the staff all wrote signature reports or maybe even base reports. I can at no cost transfer that account, that report, to a base account or a signature account. Birkman doesn't charge us for that anymore. And so that allows me then to have all of those reports together so I can create group reports or whatever. So the ability to create group reports on base accounts, that's just an amazing upgrade for us.
Yeah. Now, can we make those transfers ourselves? Like, we have someone who paid for the signature suite, they did the questionnaire, and now I want to transfer them into my base account. Can I do that myself, or do we have to go through you and Anadon to do that?
You have to go through us. Yeah. Okay. So, and I mean, I won't use a name here. Somebody the other day said, well, I don't see myself as ordering any more signature suite accounts. So can you take all 260 of my reports and put them in my signature account?
Ooh.
Well, technically, yes. But we said no. Like you tell us when you need one or you need 20, we're happy to do that. But we have to do it individually. We can't do it bulk. So, Birkman will do a bulk, but they do charge us if we do a bulk one like that, like all 200, because they physically, like we, have to go in there and do it one by one.
What's the charge on that, Ken, when Birkman does it?
Birkman usually charges like $45 or $50
for the whole.
Yeah, for the whole. Just give us a. So, but again, for us, if you just need 20, it takes Anadon 6 minutes or 5 minutes, and there's no charge for that. So we're happy to do that. It's just to do hundreds is too much of an effort.
Right.
Yeah. Any other questions?
So Gail has another question. Where are the people that are in my old trainer sub account? Are they in the signature suite account? So
yes.
For all trainers and all of our Birkman Certified Professionals that are in our system, where did their reports go if they had ordered the old component reports?
So any report that was ordered previously we could order 2 reports, base reports and signature reports. And there's actually signature suite. And those base reports can be transferred into your base account now. But all the old component reports are showing up in your signature suite account.
Now, the component reports are showing up automatically in the signature suite account, right? But are the base reports automatically showing up because they weren't associated with our accounts before, were they?
Yeah, no. And you have to tell us about what reports. I had 4 base reports. Please transfer them to my base account. And we see them in our account. We can find them, but they don't automatically show up in your sub account.
Yeah.
So, so that's, you know, the confusing part here. I mean, a year down the road, when we're not looking for 2-year-old reports, this will be a lot less hassle. But right now, but you know what? I do want to say, don't hesitate if you can't find a report. So you're logging into your signature, it's not there. You know that at one point in time this person was signature suite. Feel free to call us and have us transfer it over to whatever account you need. It's not a big deal. We're happy to do that. This will become less and less as time goes on, because when you order a report, you're saying, I want a signature report, and please transfer it to my signature account. Yes. You have to tell us which signature account, because again, some of you have multiple signature accounts, or multiple base accounts, and you need to tell us which of those base accounts you want it in.
Ken, just to say it out loud to make sure I'm hearing, obviously signature suite equals old component. Again,
Yes.
That's true.
Yes. Yeah. The old component is signature suite. So their assumption from day one was that only trainers had sub-accounts. Therefore, only trainers have access to signature suite. Therefore, everything, our old accounts are all under signature suite. Now, what's interesting, again, you can print from signature suite, you can print a basics report. One of the options there is to print a basics report or a signature report. So they actually allow you to produce those lesser reports from there. You can't produce a higher report. You can't produce a signature suite report from signature, or a signature report from base, but you can always print, you can always go down at no problem.
Ken, this is probably an obvious question, but let's say I'm working with a team build, and all of them but one have taken the base, but I'm coaching somebody that had a previous signature. So to get him together with the group, I have to ask you to move him down into the base. And
Yes.
I run the reports, but if I do more coaching with him individually, I have to ask you to move him back up.
Oh, no.
No, it doesn't lead. Sorry,
No.
yeah, go ahead, Larry.
It doesn't move him?
No, it just adds
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Birkman never removes them. In fact, once they are in anyone's account, they never get removed from that account. It's just a
Okay,
matter of adding access to their questionnaire in your database.
So in theory, yeah, you can have somebody who was a signature suite. You can at some point in time say, I need this person to run a group of signature reports. So you ask us to move it into your signature account. 6 months or a year later, they move to another church, and you run a bunch of basic reports with their team. And you say, I want that person in my basic account. It's going to show up in all three, but you can run reports on group reports with that. So yeah, it's kind of nice. Yeah, Birkman never. They do delete a report if we ask them, but they don't like doing that. Let me just talk quickly about one other thing, and that is, so Robin, you're asking for the price breakdown of the various accounts. So it's still, the basic report now is still $49, but again, we get so much more functionality with that $49 than we ever did with the old, because we can run reports and put in sub-accounts and all that kind of stuff. It's $90 for the signature report, and it's $105 for the signature suite. So,
And Ken, just to clarify, Gail was saying there's no upcharge on that. As long as they have been in your component account before, they're going to be transferred to Signature Suite, and there is no upgrade charge.
Right. Yeah.
Because we're staying within the Grip-Birkman system. In the past, there were some questions about transferring them out of a Grip-Birkman account where we had paid a reduced amount and transferring them to someone's personal business account or something like that. And there was some upgrade for that, but there's really no upcharge anymore if they're in the Signature Suite.
Right. As long as they're under one of our sub accounts. Yeah. Right. Let's see. The other thing that I was just one of the issues that has been asked, and I thought for us trainers, we need to understand this, and that is that when you order a Grip-Birkman, Leadership Grip talks to Birkman through an email address. So if a person has has previously done a Birkman profile, and you order another leadership grip, say a signature report, when that happens, when they get to the Birkman side, it automatically will kick them to their old Birkman report. And just because it's signing up an email. If they want to write a new Birkman report, you have to let us know, and we have to directly tell Birkman, no, write a second report. So at that point in time, when I look up that person by their name or by their email, 2 reports show up. But you do have to do that. It's a separate process. In the old days, we would have to go in and actually ask Birkman delete the old profile. But they've told us that philosophically they're not willing to delete old profiles. So
Right.
they'd rather us bypass it. So I have to just simply go into I have to actually go in and request that authorize a questionnaire for this person on the same email address, and it'll okay that.
Question, and my head's been a bit in the sand with Julie's cancer, obviously, and so this maybe has been addressed in other places. When we first started Grip-Birkman, we had 3 levels. We had base, mid, and component level. And for primarily for reasons of complexity, we found that we didn't really need the mid for reasons I won't explain other than complexity. We're confident that we need both the top 2 levels in our new system, and that I guess here's the key question. Have the differences between the top 2 been thoroughly explained so that people really understand the difference between the 90 and the 105? And I ask that because what we found is that most people didn't care, and that the reality was we only needed the one. In the new language, we only needed the suite rather than the middle. So any brief comment on our confidence that we need the 3 levels versus a base and a suite level, with the difference of just with the $15 difference in the top?
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Do I have an official statement or personal? Larry, give the official.
Well, the truth of the matter is the signature that's not signature suite is really for coaches that have been previously trained, to give them to allow them to still have access to it, but they don't have access to the suite of reports. And so for those coaches that have been trained prior to November of 2017, we wanted to continue to honor them since they had had access to the component report before. And they continue to have that signature report, but they don't have access to the signature suite. To be honest, for a trainer, if you're ordering a signature report, you really ought to go ahead and order the signature suite report, because you're going to want to have access to all of the other comparative reports, the group reports, and all of that. So really the 105 signature suite is only available to trainers anyway.
Yep.
And trainers really and truly can't order just the signature report. The signature report that is not signature suite is really available just for coaches that were trained prior to November 2017 to continue to honor them.
Yeah. But for most part,
Greg, and Greg was in on that conversation. I think that's an accurate way to put it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, at the same time, again, as a we're all trainers on this particular call, as trainers, if you know you don't need the whole, like all the reports for the signature suite, then saving the $15 is not harmful in any way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not harmful. It's just that when they go into that signature report, unless you pay the upgrade, you're not going to be able to run the comparative reports and the group report.
Yeah. So, and we've had a couple times people have done signature reports and then come back to us a month later and said, shoot, I really need a report that's not in here. Can you upgrade me to and so we just do the upcharge, which in this case is $15. Right. So yeah, we can do that fairly simply. And again, it used to be that we would have to call Birkman would have to do it. Right now we can do a lot of that internally, which saves time and effort. So anyway, that's
that. Second half of the question, we're confident that our people understand the difference between the top 2 in what we just discussed.
I'm not sure. I think so. The real issue is that all of our coaches trained from here on in only have access to the base. So it's really just the people who were, all the coaches up till now who've been trained have access to Signature. Trainers have access to Signature Suite. So the focus of people, who have not got level 1 training is they have access to Signature. That's a gift to them from Birkman. And then, but so it's really just, there's 27 of us who are trainers have access to Signature Suite, really, when you look at it like that. Everybody else is Signature, and then all the new coaches from here on in are going to be basic without having the additional Signature training. Okay. So any other questions?
Thanks for that.
Yeah. It's clear as mud. I know.
So Ken, just a quick question. I've ordered not a lot of reports, but I've ordered a few reports since the changeover. Now, would those would be automatically in a Signature account, or since I haven't done that process, would they be in the Signature Suite account?
Well,
like I haven't subdivided.
Yeah, depends when you order. When you ordered it, you had to tell us, I want a basic Signature or Signature Suite, and we charged you.
Okay, I probably said Signature because I wasn't aware that the Signature Suite was available. So now I'll just have to go back and double check on that and pay a little bit more and get them moved into the Signature Suite.
If you want that.
Actually, that was part of my concern in the question.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and that's exactly, you might have to, if you want to run comparative reports with other people who are in Signature Suite, you might want to upgrade these to Signature Suite.
Yeah. And that is one of the main reasons, Kim, we wanted you to be here to explain all this to us today, so we can help to clarify that.
I was going to ask Anna Dawn to be on here, and she said, not on your life. So
when she writes such warm, emotive kinds of emails, why would she not want to be here to share with us?
It is going. One other thing I wanted to touch base is, and just because with trainers, we're still getting people. Just happened the other day. Here's somebody who said, last May I was sent a link to a Birkman report, and I didn't get around to doing it. And when I tried to do it, it doesn't work. What can I do? And so we're having to deal with the fact that at some point in time we have to say to people, if you haven't filled this out for 10 months, we can no longer honor it. And so it means a paying again for a new report. So just at some point in time, we have to draw the line in the sand. What happens is if we go ahead and honor that, then what happens is that they've already paid Church Smart or Next Steps, and we still get charged for it. And we've signed an agreement now with Next Step that we will no longer back charge. I mean, we can't go back to them forever for payments, and so at some point in time we have to quit taking the hit on that and simply say to people, we're sorry. So just so you know that. But so Greg, you tried to consolidate your reports. Is my email address. I'm wondering if it's if you're using Greg. I wonder, Greg, if you're using your other email address.
Well, it allows me to log in with that address directly. Okay. It's just that when I try to use that same login with SIG or base to consolidate them, it just doesn't recognize, it says. It's just interesting. So I can log in, initially using that login information, but then when I try to consolidate with the CMA Canada, the SIG or the base, it says it doesn't recognize.
Oh, is that right? So same, you're using the same password?
Yeah.
And so you're just adding no spaces, just SIG, the same login, SIG and base.
Yeah, so it worked fine with my personal account.
Right.
With my personal account, I have another login. Name, same password, but It's just that with CMA Canada, I don't know, it's just not working for some reason.
Okay. You know what? I can check that for you. And so again, if you get a chance afterward, just drop me a quick email and let me check into those accounts, see what's going on there, and we'll try and get it worked out. And
Thanks,
we just understand we're going to have some of these glitches to begin with, but and the another big issue is if you have changed an email address, and I think that for Gail that's one of your issues. If you have a new email address, for some reason, Birkman has to change that in their system, and they sometimes are slow at doing that. But and the other issue is they won't let us do that. So you can't send me an email and say, "Oh, by the way, I've changed my email address in my Birkman account. Please, use that." We won't do that. I can change it in your Leadership Grip account, so that you can access Leadership Grip reports. I can change that email address to whatever new one, but it's actually, you have to contact support at Birkman, not at Grip-Birkman, but support at Birkman. If you get a chance to talk to Amanda has actually been given our account. So anytime you deal with Grip-Birkman, you should get forward to Amanda, and she knows us well, understands what we're doing, and so is our key contact person at Birkman. So you have to get them to change it. That's the issue.
So Ken, I was just typing a note here too. Be sure to, if you're going to have any change of email address, be sure to do that before consolidating your accounts.
Yes. Otherwise, it's a real mess. Yeah. So
sometimes we have to change email addresses, but that email address would be associated with your login, and that's one of the unfortunate things about requiring email as a login ID.
Yeah. So, and as well as, and the other issue is that when you go to Consolidated report, if you Birkman hasn't changed your email address, it sends a consolidation request to your old email.
To the old email, right.
And so then what happens is if they've canceled that email address, it gets a kickback and it says, nope, you're not consolidating this account. And so that's why we have to go into Birkman and say, actually, I need to change my email address for my accounts and sub accounts.
Yeah, so that's where you need to get Birkman support involved with you. You'll have to get on a phone call with them and get Birkman support to help with that.
Yep, and they're able to do that. They're not fast. It just seems to take a couple days, and I don't know why. But anyway, they can do it. When they did the switch, one of the unfortunate things for us, they did the switch November 7th to add consolidated reports like across Birkman 7 days after we did our switch. Yeah. So they were just slammed. I talked to Amanda, who was a part of our account, and she's just explaining that she's getting like hundreds of emails of people complaining about the consolidated report. But anyway, they're beginning to catch up, and they're beginning to make it happen. Any other questions?
Well, Ken, this has been super helpful, informative, and as Paul pointed out, perhaps not all of us were clear on this, and those of us that are here on the call are some of the people that are most involved with orders, and if we weren't clear on it, we know that other people weren't. So hopefully we'll be able to point a lot of trainers and even new trainers as they're coming in, we can point them to this video to say, hey, here is how you do this, and if you get stuck, first line of defense is support@grip-birkman.com, and second line of defense is support@birkman.com. And the third line of defense, well, the Lord only knows, I guess. Second line of defense has never had to find third line. So
between us, so
yeah,
anyway.
Between all of us, we can get it fixed, we hope. So thanks so much for this. It's been great to be with you. Thanks, Ken, for all of your help and for all that you and Anna Don are doing to support us in the Grip-Birkman community. And we'll say to everyone, farewell. And just keep on doing all you can as Grip-Birkman coaches to help build unity in the body of Christ so more people will know Jesus.
Good. And let us know any way we can help.
Thank you again, Ken.
Okay,
Farewell.
Take care.